Shovel Knight: Plague of Shadows is a 2D retro-style platformer set within the world of Shovel Knight. However, in this game you don't play as the cerulean shovel wielder. No, instead you don the Plague Doctor's mask of the chaotic and explosive Plague Knight. It's a game where you go in thinking you'll be playing with Alchemy, but instead you're worried about whether or not you have chemistry. In preparation for Yacht Club Games' newest game release, Mina the Hollower, we're reviewing the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove saga of games. I'm Tom the Wizard Man, and this is the Fake Wizards review of Shovel Knight: Plague of Shadows. If this video brings you any value at all, please hit the like and subscribe button, as we're making many reviews every single week. Plague of Shadows is the first of the expansion games in the Shovel Knight spin-offs. It uses the same maps, characters, and level progression, but is retrofitted to a completely different playstyle and story. The story of Plague of Shadows happens about 5 minutes before the events of Shovel Knight. The two stories overlap each other, where you actively run into Shovel Knight during his quest to stop the Order of No Quarter. It's the Lion King 1.5 of the Shovel Knight games, if that makes sense. As Plague Knight, you're a member of the Order of No Quarter, carrying out the will of the Enchantress. However, you have your own goal which you've been working towards, concocting a potion of unlimited power, the likes of which would allow you to do anything you so please. Working with you towards that goal is your alchemy partner, Mona, who you have romantic feelings for, but are too self-conscious to confess them. Now you'll go through defeating your fellow members and anyone standing in your way to collect the ingredients for your potion of unlimited power as you try to muster the courage to ask out your crush. The gameplay of Plague of Shadows takes your melee-focused experience from Shovel Knight and exchanges it for projectile-based combat and explosive platforming. Mirroring your boss battle in Shovel of Hope, your primary attack is throwing explosive potions, which you're able to customize throughout the game, and there is a wide array of different combinations. You can change the powder, which changes the type of explosion, the casing, which alters the way it's thrown, the fuse with how long it takes to explode, all of which can be unlocked and purchased at the Potionarium, and quick swapped in levels with right bumper. I'm gonna clue you in on a little secret. I did not know about this function when I first played it. I did not know that you could hit right bumper and have the little menu pop up. I always felt like the function was improperly incorporated, so finding out I just played it wrong was a very pleasant surprise. Your explosives break terrain and damage enemies, and holding down the throw button charges up an explosion that launches you into the air. Combining this with a secondary jump, you clear pits, spikes, and levels with a minor bit of unpredictability of where exactly you'll land. The explosion has two arcs. If you're not moving, it'll shoot you upwards, but if you're moving, it will launch you in the direction that you were moving. Something that you have to account for and get used to while playing this is that when you launch in a direction, you maintain momentum. You can try to slow down by pulling back and throwing bombs to get a little bit of hang time to reposition yourself, but there's a good chance you will fly straight into harm's way or fall directly into your death. This game does account for that, though, with the items that you pick up. The curios added a much-needed assist, but are still a bit rough sometimes. This game carries the simplicity, heart, and charm from the first game, but has a much more in-depth story. Whereas in Shovel Knight you were one man against the evil forces, in Plague Knight you have a full entourage of characters that you talk to and work with through your journey. As a result, you get a better feel for the characters and world around you. Going through levels shows what the villains would be doing behind the scenes, with most of them asking you flat out in the beginning, "Dude, what are you doing here?" It adds a new layer of depth that the first title only lightly scratched. It works in something like this because you already wanted to know more about this world, so fleshing it out through different characters' perspectives works incredibly well. Plague Knight as character is a bad guy. He's reckless, selfish, and chaotic. However, just because he's a bad guy doesn't mean he's bad guy. He's a character you root for during your playthrough. You want him to gain the courage to ask Mona out. Early in the game, it's established that Mona likes to dance, but Plague Knight doesn't know how to dance. So what does he end up doing? He ends up going to the best guy, the best character in this game, the Truple King, who teaches him to dance. From a gameplay perspective, your primary projectile and how in-depth the different parts of the potions are is awesome and fun to mess around with. Plus, the special items you pick up through your journey feel much more tailored to your gameplay. In Shovel Knight, there's moments where I'd use different items, sure, but more often than not, I kind of forgot about them. In Plague Knight, you're actively using the Vat and Staff of Surging to assist with the platforming. However, I think this game is held back by not having its own special design and layout. There are segments in each level that are exclusive to the game and have some minor tweaks in platforming and enemy spawns, but it is pretty closely a one-to-one in terms of level design. That also carries to majority of the bosses. Just like the Shovel Knight-shaped doors that you contort yourself to fit in during your gameplay, Plague Knight is stuck trying to fit itself into the confines of another game. They did do a good job of accommodating and adding new elements to still make it a new and fresh experience, yes, but I wish there was a little more. Bosses keep their attack patterns from Shovel Knight, but as a result, can get very easily cheesed. Spectre Knight and King Knight's campaign doesn't really run into this issue as badly, as they change the levels and world to be more akin to their own story. I just wish Plague Knight had that too. This game is sweet and sincere. It's a more in-depth title than the first game and has my favorite ending out of the Shovel Knight games, but it may be my least favorite in terms of gameplay. As a result, I give it an 8 out of 10, and I still highly recommend it. If this review gave you any value at all, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.